Walking in My Own Private Idaho, and today I am sharing 3 of my sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life and 3 ways to do a title, or I'll show you the sample of 3 ways that I did my title. I did try to do a step-by-step one on, but that wasn't successful. I'll continue to work on that and see if I can't get that to work so that you can actually see. So my idea is that the title Tuesday will be a 2-parter, 1 actually making the title, and then 2 showing you how to use it in a scrapbook layout. But that is still a work in progress. So let's go ahead and get started with this first one. And this first one is a 2-page layout. I actually changed it up a little bit, and I'm just doing the left side today. I do have the title. I will make this a 2-page layout, but I'm needing to move on because I keep losing my stuff. So here we go. So in this layout, when I do a layout, I always look at what I think the big picture is on this. And now that I'm looking at this, I do kind of want to add something to this. So remember when I do a video, when you first come on, the picture that is on is kind of the final cut, what I finally did. So I think I am going to add something along this way. I don't know yet what that is. But so on this scallop, what I used instead of a scallop is I had a beach ball stamp. And so I put my beach ball all along the side, and I had these fun little puffy stickers that I've had for quite some time, and I added those just for fun. So that is the element that I've done there. This is, so the blue paper is cut at 12 by 12, and that is extremely old from a paper pack that I had. And this is Beach Day from Close to My Heart. And I cut, these strips are 10 by 5, and then I put a strip in the middle, like they have, and that is that. So let's talk about the title. So on this title, a lot of times I will get my titles from, they're pre-made, and when I figure out how to do the whole filming the Cricut page, I will share that with you how that is. But I created this, and so I used the font. I wanted my bottom line to be a thick, bold letter. So that is Cool Chick, I believe. And this one is Letteria. I really like the printed and then a cursive on top. So instead of putting the O's, I used, he's in a little, what do they call those, floaties. So I did 2 floaties. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So on these floaties, they had each, if I cut it out in Cricut, and there were little tiny pieces. These were all little tiny pieces. These were little tiny pieces. And I don't like small pieces. So what I did with this one, this is actually a print and cut. So I changed this to a print and cut, and I added, then I put, I also made this be an overlay. And then I actually punched this out with a hole punch that I had. So, because you can do your print and cut where you can cut it out, but I haven't collaborated mine. So I just go ahead and do a fussy cut. And then, so that is my title. But, so, another way, to have the print and cut, you have to have a at-home printer. And most people do, and that works great. But if you don't, another way that you can do it is, this is the pen option. So this is how the pen looked. So I switched it from basic cut to pen. I used a blue Cricut pen, and that's what that looked like, and then I colored it. So this is the final result. And then I just, you can get it to cut. I'm still working on that, but I hand cut that one. so that one could go there. And I think I really like that. I really like the pen. A lot of times if the image is big, I don't like coloring because I don't really like my coloring. But that worked out great. So instead of cutting out each one of these little tiny small ones and pasting them down, you can do a pin, you can do a print and cut. So that is my tip for today. So this is sketch, and I didn't tell you who the sketch was. So this sketch is by Mandy Beyer, and I will create this, and I will post the 2-page layout like this on my on this page. And I actually did this page and not this page because I had a longer block of pictures. So this one would have only had 4 pictures, and I had more pictures to put on it because this is for the calendar. Okay, so that is day number 15. And so now we're going to work a little bit back difference, and I'm going to talk about titles if you don't do Cricut. So I have 2 examples of pages today that do not have, I did not use Cricuts. I know that everybody, you can make a title about it. So, oh, and the other thing too is, so, like, back up to truck a little, I want to talk a little bit more about Cricut. So, another thing about Cricut is, sometimes they can look a little flat. So here are some options. So when I cut it out, this is for my, that one says, bye bye pool, hello school. And this is, I cut out apple for the OO in school. It looks a little plain and it looks a little flat. So here are some things that you could do. You could one easy way is you could draw around it to give it more depth. See how I've added, and that is just free-handed. I took a black pen, and that gives it a little bit more depth. You could also color in. So I've colored this green, that brown with a fine felt marker, and draw around. And I like this one. I think that looks a lot better. Another example is, let me show you letters that aren't. So this is just a plain Cricut cut with the letters. This is a Cricut cut where we've sponged around, and a lot of people, if you see people that use the Cricut all the time, they have their little thumb sponger and they sponge around their letters, and so that's an option. And you can see how when I put it down here like this, I don't know if you can see that, this one does stand out a little bit more, and that's just from light sponging. Another thing that you could do is you could take the time and draw around. I didn't like the drawing on the letters, but I do really like it on the apple. So those are my ideas to add a little depth to your, add a little something something to your life. So I'm going to, I gotta cover up my pictures before I show you the next layout. I'm gonna just put, borrowed children. Up there, up there. This is how I lose my parts. I stick them on the kids' faces, and then then I don't know what I've done with my pieces. Okay, there. Okay. So this is a calendar page, and this is from the sketch. This is sketch number, I'm kind of popping around a little bit today. This is sketch number 14. So it was created by Lisa Sikorski. She is the one that does Scrap-A-Sketch, and so her sketches are always beautiful. Every Friday she puts a new one up on Scrap-A-Sketch, so if you're looking for sketches, she is a great resource, and she does beautiful work. And so I stayed fairly close to the sketch. So I have my 3 layers here. I had a curvy, I don't think it was kiwi lane, it was just something I found at a garage sale, and you can't see it that much right there. And then instead of having the ruffle, the scallops, I decided to go with this because it was on the paper. So this paper is called Celebrating You. It had a lot of stickers. I still have some of this. It's from Close to My Heart, and I inked all of that. And so this is the paper pack. It was a larger paper pack, and it came with all of this stuff, except for I did make the flowers. The flower is from there was a large die set from Stampin' Up, not Stampin' Up, Close to My Heart, sorry. I get my companies mixed up. So this is that one. And so I do calendars. So for the month of May, it's her birthday, and I wanted to include that picture. So this is, normally I do pretty themed ones on birthdays, but I decided that I would not do that this time. And you can see that she just has 3 photos, and I wanted to do more. So it's very easy to add photos. So I moved the title over, made it a little bit smaller, moved it up. But you can see I stayed fairly true to the sketch. I didn't have a flower. If I had a smaller flower, maybe something like that, I could put that up there. But at some point, you don't have to. And I did a little bit of mixed media. I did, this was just inking, where you take your stamp set and you wad it up, and you just, with plastic, you wad up plastic and just put it on there. And I did try to do some white splatter that my white is getting weak on it. So, but anyway, it turned out, and so I included kind of the main memories and her birthday. So, okay, so that was day number 14. And if you look in the description below, I will include the dimensions that I used in the paper pack and that sort of thing. So let's go to the last one that I did. And this one was so much fun. And it only had 2 pictures, but remember, a sketch is just a jumping off place. And because when I do calendars, I try to include a picture of everybody in the family. And this was a great project. When I do my calendars, I really go heavy into my stash, because I create more pages because I'm in a hurry. I have several calendars to do before Christmas, so it's time to not film as much and create more, I guess. So this is day number 13, and I love this one. I think it turned out really well, and this is by Jessica Michaels. And when I got the sketch, I like how it kind of, see how it kind of comes at an angle? Wouldn't this be a great Christmas? I can see this having Christmas pictures and doing the same idea, but only with Christmas pictures. So she had Boo and I had Boy, because it's his birthday. So on the birthday month of June, I am just putting all pictures of this little boy with all of his siblings and his family members. So they had lines. I did a little bit of stitching, wasn't in love with my stitching, and I did try a little bit of mixed media. The jury's out on that one. And she has something on the right hand side. I put it on the left hand side just because I was trying to get my pictures to swing around. And so yeah, so this went from this, which is two pictures, and I turned it into a layout for 5. And you can see the title. So this title, the title for the previous one, the title for this one was all stickers. So you can use stickers for titles, and I got that straight from the pack. I didn't bring anything in for the title. Same thing with this one. This is the Stampin' Up! Large alphabet die. I will link that. That was one that I thought, I'm not for sure if I'm going to use this because the letters are large, but they're actually only about, I would say they're about 2.5 inches. Yeah, they're about 2.5 inches, and I'm just amazed at how, and they're not real wide. So I did Boy, and then I had this was a die that came in the Celebrate You pack, the one that I just showed you, the layout I showed you with the little girl's birthday. This is the same pack as that. They will be side by side in an album, but they're 2 different months on the calendar. So I think that's everything on that. And then this one, once I figured out what I was doing, it went together pretty quickly. So I will share the dimensions. On this Facebook group, I will give you the dimensions, and you'll have the side-by-side pictures of the final result. And anyway, so thank you for watching. Thank you for coming by and seeing my channel. It really helps a lot, and I will see you next Tuesday. And hopefully, I really do want to start doing the titles as a process. My title Tuesday won't always be Cricut cuts. Sometimes I'll use these. And if you don't have a Cricut, this is an example of if you don't have a Cricut and you want to make fun titles, you can still make fun titles using die cuts and whatever you have in your stash. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again. Thanks.